Hello everyone, this is Sunil and I wish everyone having a good time. In today's agenda we will talk about Windows Defender for endpoints. So this is going to be part 1 and we will discuss theoretical part in this demo class, and in part 2 we will do a deployment. So let's discuss first the theoretical part and try to understand the license configuration and deployment with the screenshot so that we will have a little bit understanding and that would be clear once we do it in our lab. So let's jump to the first license prerequisite for Windows Defender for endpoints. So there are two type of licenses for Windows Defender. That is Windows Defender for endpoint and Windows Defender for business. Let's understand for Windows Defender for endpoints includes in two flavor, P1 and P2. So P1 already part of or included in Microsoft 365 E3 license. So if you have Microsoft 365 E3 license, Windows and Defender for Endpoint P1 already included. You don't have to buy a standalone. But if you don't have, if you have any other license, whether it's business standard, business basic or XYZ, then you will have to buy a standalone license for Windows Defender P1 or P2. The other license, which include Windows Defender for Endpoint P2, that is Microsoft 365 E5 license. So if you have that, then you have Defender for Endpoint P2, and if you don't, then you have to buy a standalone license for P2 for Windows Defender. So this was for Windows Defender Endpoint. The another one is Windows Defender for Business. That is also for endpoint devices, and that's included in Microsoft Business Premium license. So if you have Business Premium, you don't have to buy a standalone license, Windows Defender for Business, as it's already part of it. If you don't have Business Premium, then you will have to buy a standalone license for Windows Defender for Business. And before I move ahead, there is one more license, Windows Defender for servers. That not included in Windows Defender for Business. So just keep it in mind. If you have Windows Defender for Business and you are looking to onboard Windows servers, whether it's Windows Server 2012, 16, 19, you would have to buy Windows Defender for Server add-on license to onboard Windows Server devices. Now let's jump into the deployment part. So there are 4 types of deployment, and this is depends to the organization needs, configuration, and their setup. Whatever is flexible, convenient for them, and easy to deploy, they can choose any of the method. So first is Intune. That is totally based on cloud that we could deploy. We could deploy this, and we can onboard our devices. Second is Intune with configuration manager. So you can say in collaboration or with integration with configuration manager, that is also known as SCCM. Third is configuration manager, that is SCCM. And the fourth, that is local script downloaded from the Microsoft 365 Defender portal, that we can run this script and we can onboard the devices. So in the left hand side, as you could see, that's just a description. When you plan your deployment, you can choose from several different architectures and deployment method, whatever it suits to your organization needs. Now, there is a Microsoft article already available with thoroughly in detail about the deployment, configuration, license, and much more. So that is something I will add in the description, and if somebody have to go through with it, they can. Now, we already talked about the deployment method, but now we talk about the endpoint devices, whether Windows, Mac OS, Android, iOS. So these are the 4 devices generally, and the Linux machine also they are now, which we can onboard. And that is updated recently in the Intune portal. So if we have endpoint devices like Windows, and then the part 2 in the lab, we will onboard Windows devices, and we'll do all the configuration. So for Windows endpoint devices, there are for deployment, there are five methods. First is local script, up to 10 devices. Second is group policy, that is for domain joined machine or domain controller. Third is Microsoft Intune mobile device configuration, that is from Intune only, no SCCM involved. Fourth is Microsoft Endpoint Configuration Manager, that means deploying endpoint devices through Configuration Manager. And last but not the least, VDI script, and that is we can execute the VDI script basically for VM machines, whether they are hosted in hypervisor or in VMware. We can download and execute this VDI script on that VM machine to onboard. Then from Mac OS, we have three deployment method to onboard. Local script, Microsoft Intune, mobile device management. Local script, that means we have to download, execute in the machine itself. Microsoft Intune mobile device management, that is from Intune portal. And the last JAMF Pro, that is third party, and there's a Microsoft article how to deploy JAMF Pro devices. So if I hold control and left click on it, it's going to show me in detail how to deploy the JMF Pro devices. So these are all the configuration deployment that we can go through with it. Last, not the least, but okay, the third one we have Android. So for Android, we have only one option to deploy. That is Microsoft Intune for Android deployment. For iOS, whether it's iPad or iPad, we can take an example. If we are looking to deploy iOS devices, then Microsoft Intune, or else Mobile Application Manager, Apple App Store Defender. So this is the app available in the App Store in in the iPad, and from there also we can deploy the iOS devices. So if I have to check this, okay, it will put some light on it also. Deploy Microsoft Defender for Endpoint on iOS with the mobile applications. So there is a whole configuration, ma'am. Mobile application management configuration, and we can deploy the same prerequisite and everything. Now let's jump to the next slide, and we have also now option to onboard Linux machines, and we have two method, whether local script, which is written in Python language, which is already available in the portal in the Window Defender, and we can download and we can execute in the Linux machine to onboard. Other option we have, your preferred Linux configuration manager, and in that scenario we can have an option like language Puppet or Ansible. We can configure and we can onboard the devices also. Now this is the configuration steps if we talk about. So we have to go step by step to deploy the same. The first is enable Microsoft Defender for Endpoint in Intune, onboard devices, then create and assign compliance policy to set device risk level, then create and assign app protection policy to set device risk level. So okay, if I tap on it, it will show us even with the screenshot what is it talking about, enable Microsoft Defender for Endpoint in Intune. So we have to go to Intune portal and we have to log in. There is an option we can choose to enable it, and then it works. Then onboard devices, and then create and assign policy, and then create and assign app protection policy risk level. These are the set of you can say action plan or deployment method and the configuration we have to go through in the Intune portal. So this is just a screenshot. We have to go to Window Defender portal, and then on the left hand side settings, then endpoint advanced features, and then we have to toggle and turn on this option, Microsoft Intune connection. This part is done, and Yes, we have also go. We have to also go to the endpoint in the Intune Micros Defender for Endpoint and turn on the compliance policy for Android and Windows and iOS. So, like as you could see, we have three options: Windows, iOS, iPad, and Android. So once we turn it on, only then they would be onboarded and going to be. We can monitor the devices from the Defender portal and we can check the risk level and proactive approach can be applied for the same. So if we are only planning to onboard Windows devices, we can only turn on Windows one, and we can turn off rest iOS or Android. That depends what devices we are going to onboard, and we are going to monitor uh, the risk level and all that, and taking a proactive approach to mitigate the issue. So now this part of talk about the creating a configuration policy from the Intune. So create the device configuration policy to onboard Windows devices. So this is just any steps that also available in Microsoft article, but this is just precise. If I say this will be a right word. Uh, Precisely, it's been defined exactly what we have to do in the portal, and that is something we will also do in part two while deploying and configuring our policy. All right, so this part is because there are some of the settings which might get confused, and so like in this configuration settings, when you go to Microsoft Defender for Endpoint Client Configuration Package Type, that should be auto from connector. So that means it's only going to be deployed from the Microsoft Intune. Sample sharing not configured. It's optional. Deprecated telemetry reporting frequency. It is deprecated, but we can select normal. We have the option right now, so we can. Assignment, we can assign it to groups, all the users, or all the devices. So as per my experience, I recommend to assign it to a group, and inside the group add the devices. So by this way we can mitigate the issue if we come across later on, if any device is not getting onboarded, have some issues, so we can check what is the problem with that device. Like, does it meet the prerequisite license assigned properly? uh, Windows update is properly working okay, and antivirus and each and everything. So adding a group is the best option. So create a group, add the devices that you would like to onboard for security measurement, and then we can assign to that group. So now here it's a compliance policy to set device risk level. There are four set of device level. So this is just a configuration part. What the steps we could say. For that we have to go to Intune portal devices, compliance policy, create policy, platform. We are going to deploy in Windows 10 and later on devices. If you are planning on other, then you can choose the other option as well. Now, device risk level, as I mentioned earlier, there are four set of risk level: clear, low, medium, high. So clear means the device which was not enrolled earlier for any Windows Defender, and it's a brand new PC, we could say, which is re-imaged and nothing is been installed yet except the Windows on that. So that is clear, and there is means over here. This level is most secure because the device can't have any existing threats and still access company resources. If the threat are found, the device is evaluated as non-compliant. Low, this is second level. The device is compliant if only low level threats exist. Device with medium or high risk threats level aren't compliant. So if it, then medium and then high. So high is the lowest level secure because this level is the last secure and allow all threats level. Device with high, medium or low threats level are considered compliant. And the medium part, the device is compliant if the threats are found in the devices are low or medium. If high level are detected, the device is marked as non-compliant. So even if it's marked high, it will be marked compliant. So that means we are ignoring it. So that does not make any sense, to choose or select the option high. So generally, we select the option medium or low. We can say depends. Otherwise, there is no way. No, does not make any sense. We are configuring and onboarding devices with the high risk level, which I have, compromised, or my antivirus not working at all, not monitoring anything. Threats are injected in the machine, and it's uh, just infecting all the files and folders. So the recommended option to choose medium in this case. This is the screenshot for the same. So require the device to be at or under the machine risk score, and here we can choose like clear, low, medium, and high. Recommended is low or medium. Clear is only for re-image devices, first time going to be used, and high is does not make any sense. Even if it's that means if we select high, the device risk score measured that device in high risk level, but still it will be marked compliant. So we have to choose medium, because if we select medium, if any the device risk score measured as high, then it will make it non-compliant, and it will be not onboarded in the uh, Window Defender portal. So action for compliance. So these are the two options: add email to end user, add devices to retire list. So these are the action we can take if device marked non-compliant. Either retire the device or send an email to end user to notify him. Yeah, there is some risk in the machine. Please check and all the security settings, or even admin can check. The user can be admin and he can check. Assignment, we can assign same groups, all users or all devices. Recommended ways to assign it to group. To monitor device compliance. So monitor the state of device that have the Microsoft Defender for Endpoint Compliance policy. And to do this, we can go to that Intune portal, monitor device compliance. Find the Microsoft Defender for Endpoint policy in the list and see which all devices are compliant and non-compliant. If non-compliant, why they are non-compliant, we can get some more information. The firewall is turned on, uh, antivirus working properly, it's not turned off. So all that things can be checked. So we can also use operational report for non-compliant devices from the same location. Devices monitor non-compliant devices. So there's a screenshot also, as it shown over here. The policy compliance, the compliance policy for Defender, it shows compliance devices 0, non-compliant 0, error 0. So to view onboarding state of your Intune managed devices, we have to go to Endpoint portal, Microsoft Defender for Endpoint Security, and Intune Security, then Microsoft Defender for Endpoints. From this page, you can also create a device configuration profile to onboard more devices to Microsoft Defender for Endpoints. So this is just a screenshot. Once Microsoft Defender for Endpoint devices are onboarded, then it show you connection status enabled and last synchronization state also. So what next? We have almost covered everything in the theoretical part. So the next is deployment in lab, and that is something we will cover in part 2, because this is going to be very long video if we continue with the lab in this one. So till then, take care, have a good day, and bye-bye.